Welcome to the Bourbon Friday Show. I'm your host, Nick Niehaus. We are talking business and bourbon. I am speaking with Olena Lazareva, who is the COO of Loro today. So thank you so much, Olena, for joining me.
Thank you for inviting.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. So I'm excited to talk to you because Loro is a really cool business with a really awesome mission. And you guys just won an Arch Grant, correct?
Yes, that's true. We
That's
are very
awesome.
happy to be a part of Arch Grant cohort this year, and it's an incredible opportunity for us.
Well, congratulations. So you must have recently moved to St. Louis then, right?
Yes, 2 months ago.
2 months, okay.
And we love startup ecosystem here. We have amazing mentors. We are part of Arch Grants, ITIN, and hopefully Biogenerator soon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats. Sounds like you guys are off to a fast start.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, that's good. Well, so let's talk about what Loro is and what you guys do, because it's a really cool mission. So tell me about it.
Sure. So Loro is an early stage startup, and we developed an innovative assistive technology for people with ALS, multiple sclerosis, spinal cord injuries. So people who are using wheelchairs, who are not able to move and talk, and people who need a camera to see what's around them, and people who need a very smart communication device to talk with their loved ones and with their houses, so smart home technology.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So we combined everything that a person with ALS or multiple sclerosis needs in one device.
Okay.
And we are very excited to give it to them.
That's awesome. Yeah, and this is obviously a huge need, right? Because I think what people maybe don't know. So I know a fair amount about ALS, but for those that may not, I mean, this is a degenerative disease, right? So you start with kind of minor issues, and then they get progressively worse, right? So one of the things you mentioned was being able to see around, right? So a 360 camera. Why is that important?
So as Loro started, it started as a camera on a pole.
Okay.
So we have a very nice friend, Steve Sailing, and he has ALS for 14 years.
Wow.
And he really needed something to be able to see during football games.
Okay.
Because everyone is cheering up and standing, and he couldn't. He was in a wheelchair, and he even couldn't move his head. Mm-hmm. So our founders, they developed a camera, 360 rotational camera, which you can control using your eyes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so then they decided to move it forward. So they decided to create object detection. So the device right now, it recognizes objects around people.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
it suggests you smart sentences like, I want a bottle of water, or I want to go for a walk. And the person can click on that sentence using only their eyes.
Wow.
Or any kind of ability switches, which makes it a very smart device.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, and that's so important because a lot of people with these diseases get to a point where they can't move their hands,
Exactly,
right? I mean, like
exactly.
they literally can only move their eyes and maybe their mouth a little. I mean, right? It's
not people with ALS, MS. It's spinal cord injury. It's aphasia. It's for people who cannot talk.
Wow.
It's a nonverbal autism, and it's a CP, cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
Eventually, we are aiming to help all of those people.
That's amazing. Yeah, and this is obviously very much needed. So, was there an existing solution? I mean, are you building on something that was already out there, or is this completely from scratch?
No. As I mentioned, it started with just a camera.
Okay.
And then we decided to build a communication device around it. But what exists right now in the market is there are computers like text to speech, speech to text options, but it's very, very simple and outdated solution. And it takes a long time to just type one sentence. Simply for Steve, for our friend, it takes 10 minutes to type one sentence.
Really? Holy cow.
And this is hard for him. It's hard for a caregiver because they cannot spend a lot of time with them.
Sure.
And they have to, but.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so tell me about this idea of, so you have this camera, and that's obviously great in terms of helping them see around themselves, but you mentioned that it can detect objects and kind of suggest sentences. So how does that work? Is this some sort of AI stuff, or what are we talking about there?
Yes, that's AI. This is what we are doing. So we have a camera, 360 rotational camera on a pole, which has a flashlight and a laser pointer.
Okay.
And it also has a audio and speaker inside. We also have a patented software, which helps to detect objects and suggest you sentences. It can also connect you to Alexa. So you can directly type into our software and talk with your smart home.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Well, sounds like a huge improvement over what already existed. So,
Yeah.
is this something? Is it something you can integrate with someone? So obviously, it works with a wheelchair. Is that correct? Or
So our hardware, it's mounted on a wheelchair.
okay.
And the software, you can download it on your tablet, or we also give people like little tablets.
Awesome. Cool. So very very user friendly. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what we're aiming. Our CEO Joya, she's expert in design
Okay.
and inclusive design. So she's making everything very disability friendly.
That's great. Well, so tell me about how this got started, right? Because this was actually kind of a project before it was a company. Is that
Yes,
correct? Yeah.
yes.
So how did that come together?
So everything started from a hackathon in MIT, and they were building a solution for people with ALS.
Okay.
So there was a huge problem, and there was no solution before. So
Sure.
they built it. They won this hackathon, and they decided to make it something bigger to
Wow.
help more people. And our goal right now is to help people with all those conditions and diseases, and eventually be able to help more.
That's great. So were you all students at the time, or
Yeah.
how did the team? So the team kind of just did you all meet at the hackathon, or how did the team
so
come
our
together?
founders, they met at the hackathon.
They met at the hackathon.
Yes,
Gotcha.
and I joined when I was in college too. It was a year and a half ago, and we were all college students, and now we are full time
Yeah.
working on this.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, tell me about the kind of where you're at in terms of the development cycle. I mean, is it an existing product somebody can buy, or are you still building it out?
So we are launching a product in CES
Cool.
in January.
Awesome.
So everyone, please welcome to come. We also are giving tickets. We have some tickets for free.
Oh, really? Okay.
So please join my page to get a free ticket. We are launching the first device. It's a hardware device and a software.
Okay.
And we are planning to do some more research and development next year. But
Gotcha.
we are launching first.
That's awesome. Yeah. So do you have anybody already excited to try it out, or have,
Oh, yes. We
Yeah?
actually tried. We had over 80 user tests.
Oh, really? Okay.
So people tried it, and people are using it now.
That's awesome.
At this moment.
Really cool.
And we are very excited to give it to more people.
Yeah, well, I bet. Yeah. Well, tell me about some of those case studies. I mean, what have you learned from people trying the product
Sure.
out? What are they saying? Yeah.
So as at the beginning, it was a camera.
Sure.
Then we had like camera and a communication device. Then we tested it with some more people, and we added more features based on what they wanted. Like
Okay.
someone
So these are
mentioned-
things that they brought up
Exactly.
to you?
Like
Okay.
a flashlight.
Sure.
Someone mentioned that we don't see in the dark. Like at night, I need to go, like for example, I need to go back, like in my wheelchair, and I cannot see what's there.
Oh, okay.
Or like, I need to point on something in a supermarket. How do I do it if I cannot use my hand? So
Right.
I need a laser pointer, right? So this was all add-ons based on the feedback.
Interesting.
And so based on the feedback, every single time we would test and go back, test and go back. So right now we are developing our this device in January, and we are planning to give it to people again to just see if they like it and alter it again.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, so how important, because I think a lot of startups can learn lessons from this, right? Because obviously you had the product, you put it out to the people it was intended for, and then you improved it and you made adjustments to it, right? So how important was that to the process of developing the product?
It was highly important, especially with our customers. You have to understand the problem. You have to understand how people think. You have to understand pain points. The pain points that we realized is that the speed of communication is so slow.
Right,
You
yeah.
cannot know this if you don't go there and try, right?
Right.
You cannot know how much caregivers are struggling. You cannot know what they think about it and what they want if you don't just go. And you cannot ask one person. You should ask a lot of people and then see the patterns and
Right. Gotcha. So were those features things that came up more than once, it sounds
Yeah.
like? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, so obviously the important question here, so you're launching at CES, right?
Yes.
So at that point, will the product be open to the entire public, or is there still kind of like a list somebody should join to sign up?
So we are inviting people to join a pilot program if
Okay.
they want to try a device. So we will give devices for 2 weeks, a month to try,
Okay.
and then we will take it back. If the person would like to purchase it, welcome. But after the CES, we will be launching a pre-order campaign.
Okay.
So every single person can pre-order, and we will deliver when we manufacture those.
That's awesome. Do you know what the timeline is for that yet? Have you figured it out?
6 to 8 months.
6 to 8 months, okay. And do you guys have a price that you're allowed to talk about publicly yet?
So right now it's around $800.
$800, okay.
And $80 for a subscription for software.
For the software, okay.
But it might change.
Yeah, well, and that's not, I mean, to go from hardly being able to communicate to vastly improving on that, it's probably worth almost any amount of money in my mind. So that makes a lot of sense. Cool. Well, I'm excited for it. So if somebody wants to sign up to be on the list in particular, obviously they can attend CES, right?
Yeah.
Can they do the same sort of thing on your website, or where should they go to register?
Yes, on our website they can register for a pilot program, and if they want to attend CES, just join our Facebook or LinkedIn page.
All right, very cool. Good stuff. Well, Olena, we got just a couple minutes left, so we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to invite Eric, who's the founder of Bourbon Friday, onto the show. Eric's going to tell us what we're drinking today. So what do we got?
Maneuver my way in here. So we have Evan Williams Single Barrel.
Okay.
And I mean, I knew that part of Loro's story was helping your friend Steve with ALS, and so I looked into the bourbon community, and the guy that actually created Evan Williams Single Barrel's name is Parker Beam. Obviously from the famous Beam family. Mm-hmm. He was the grandnephew of Jim Beam. And so this, versus a lot of other single barrels, actually has a very distinctive taste. Mostly when you buy single barrel, you're looking for difference versus something else, because it's just one barrel. And
right, yeah, so there's a little variety.
But so he was this super hardworking guy, and he ended up being diagnosed with ALS. Mm. And he kind of kept it secret for a little while, but then finally when he did come public about it, the entire bourbon community basically came out to support him. Every major distillery donated whiskey. He blended it to create this thing that was called the Unity bottling, which was then sold as, it was a one-of-a-kind, was sold as $10,000 item at auction to raise money for ALS. And he also created what was called the Parker Heritage Collection, and $20 from every bottle of that, and that raised $250,000 for ALS. Wow. So they, before he passed away, and he did pass away a few years ago, they estimate that he contributed to raising about $1 million to support ALS research. So I just wanted to be able to tell this guy's story that has done something so important, and what I think you guys are doing is super important as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, great tie-in, as always, but this one seems a little more meaningful than normal, right? Good. Well, so we got a couple minutes left. Do we have some events coming up here, Eric?
Yeah, we do, but of course, with the holidays coming up, there isn't that much.
A lot of holiday parties, probably.
There are a few left. Most of them already sort of happened.
That's true.
Million Cups next week at T-Rex. They aren't going to have a pitch. I believe they're going to do maybe a panel or something like this, but there's their holiday party that morning. I think they're going to have some food, Bloody Marys, that kind of thing. And that is on Wednesday morning. Then Wednesday afternoon, NextCore is having their holiday party called Nextmas, so you may want to go check that out. Then on Thursday, we have Venture Cafe. Some of the highlights from that is the Leadership Dojo, Influence Like a Sensei by EQ, and Return to Your Power. Mm-hmm. We have Cognitive Dissonance and Its Effect on Sales Professionals, put on by Webster University's Center for Innovation. And then also Medicare for All to the Rescue, and this is by the Physicians for National Health Program. And basically that is, we hear about Medicare for All and all of this. This is really trying to tell you what the facts of what that actually might look like or could look like.
Interesting.
And then Friday, we're back here for another great Bourbon Friday. We have Austin Smith from Mission Control. He is a COO member, and this is a platform to help organize intramural esport leagues. So I know you play intramural soccer.
I do, yeah.
And so does Megan, who works with me. So this is really trying to capture that esports area, because there's definitely these esports pro organizations that are huge, but this is really trying to bring it down to a community level.
Well, good stuff as always. For those of you tuning in, we want to thank you for watching us this week. We are here at Kovo, so I want to thank you, Kovo, so much for hosting us, both the event and the show. I'd like to thank EQ for providing us a platform and streaming our show every single week. And in this case, thank you to Vanessa Lobo, who is back subbing in for Ian this week behind the camera, doing a great job, I'm sure. So thanks for tuning in. And as always, please join us next Friday for the Bourbon Friday show. We'll talk to you then.
Hey, thanks for watching. We truly hope you enjoyed it. Please like and share this episode, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. To stay up to date, follow us on social. We are at Bourbon Fridays on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. See you next time.